To understand what is at stake in the Kursk region, we need to go back to August 2024 when Ukraine surprised the world with an unprecedented cross-border offensive, marking the first time in history that a nuclear power was invaded. This region, located in southwestern Russia and historically associated with significant World War II battles, has once again become the stage for intense military confrontations. During the offensive, Ukrainian forces managed to capture 502 square miles of Russian territory. However, the reactions were swift, with Russia recapturing about one-third of this territory in the following months. Yet, the Kursk region remains highly contested, with Vladimir Putin describing the expulsion of Ukrainian forces as a sacred duty, though he avoided establishing a deadline for this. This scenario highlights the strategic importance of Kursk, which is not just a point of conflict, but also a potential bargaining tool politically and militarily. An element that has captured international attention is the presence of North Korean troops in these battles. It is estimated that between 10,000 to 12,000 North Korean soldiers were sent to Russia, many of them belonging to the Pyon Special Forces. This collaboration is a result of the alliance between Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, who have deepened diplomatic and military ties in recent years. These soldiers were mobilized in October 2024 and entered combat in December of the same year, as reported by various international sources. However, the casualties have been devastating, with President Zelensky recently reporting that around 3,800 North Korean soldiers were killed or wounded in just 1 month of combat, representing approximately one-third of the entire contingent sent. This high mortality rate in such a short period of combat reflects the tactics employed, often described as massive and desperate open-field assaults against heavily defended Ukrainian positions. A Pentagon report indicates these troops have been treated as expendable by Russia. The North Korean participation is not merely a military fact, but also a reflection of emerging geopolitical dynamics, with NATO analysts considering the presence of these troops as a significant escalation in the conflict, expanding the dimensions of the war. This collaboration also raises questions about the strengthening of alliances among authoritarian regimes, creating new global power axes. Moreover, the use of foreign troops in combat within Russian territory clearly signals the difficulties Russia faces in mobilizing its own resources to sustain the war. This reliance on foreign troops not only highlights internal pressure on the Russian army, but also questions the perception of an invincible and invulnerable military force promoted by the Kremlin. Recently, the village of Nova in the Kursk region has become the epicenter of intense battles following the renewal of the Ukrainian advance. According to Zelensky, the battles on January 4th and 5th, 2025, resulted in the loss of up to 1 battalion of Russian infantry, including North Korean soldiers and Russian paratroopers. Since a battalion can range from 600 to 1,000 soldiers, we get a sense of the magnitude of the losses. These battles are not isolated incidents, but part of a broader Ukrainian strategy to destabilize Russian lines. According to the New York Times, Ukraine uses these incursions to force the redistribution of Russian troops, easing pressure on other fronts like Donetsk. Although the results are mixed, they underscore Kyiv's determination to maintain its position and exploit some Russian vulnerabilities. While the combats in Kursk attract international attention, the situation in Donetsk is also a major concern for Ukraine. In recent months, Russian forces have made consistent advances in the region, with a specific focus on the city of Pokrovsky, which serves as an important logistics and supply center for Ukrainian troops fighting in Donetsk. If Pokrovsky falls, it would represent a deep blow to Ukraine's defensive effort, as the loss of the city would not only cut off a critical supply route, but also weaken defensive lines across the region. According to the New York Times, Russian troops are now less than 0.6 miles from a vital road connecting Pokrovsky to other parts of the Ukrainian front, intensifying the risks of besieging Ukrainian troops in the area. The fall of Pokrovsky could force Kyiv to redistribute its forces from other regions, including Kursk, creating a strategic dilemma. On the other hand, this would also highlight Ukraine's vulnerability to facing Russian operations on multiple fronts, putting even more pressure on Western allies to provide more substantial military and logistical support. With ongoing combat and high casualty rates for both Russian and North Korean soldiers, the future of the Kursk region remains uncertain. For Ukraine, maintaining territory in Kursk represents a powerful asset in any future negotiations with Moscow, as emphasized by Zelensky. For Russia, the inability to fully recover this territory questions its military competence and its ability to maintain external alliances. Additionally, collaboration with North Korea exposes Russia to new international criticisms and possible additional sanctions, while highlighting Moscow's difficulties in mobilizing its own resources for its invasion. In contrast, North Korea might be using this participation as a valuable opportunity to test its armed forces in large-scale conflict, albeit at a high human cost. The involvement of North Korean troops in the Ukraine war is a symbol of the complex alliances and unpredictable dynamics shaping this conflict. The Kursk region, with its historical and strategic relevance, remains at the center of this dispute, but the true fate of the war is being fought around, essential for the Ukrainian defensive effort in the medium and long term.